Hello, everybody. It is Monday, February 23rd, and welcome back to the Nick Watkins Show. I'm Nick Watkins. Let's get into it, starting with the gold medal game from the Olympics yesterday. Canada versus the United States for the gold medal in Milan. What a game it was. Let's go over the key plays and the recap as we go along with the key plays. The game started out at 5 in the morning. I did wake up for the game yesterday. It was well worth it, in my opinion, even though I'm a little bit tired right now. But I'm so glad that I was able to watch this game and I got up early in the morning for it because these are two incredible teams in essentially the championship for the Olympics. And what a game it was. Fast paced, incredible hockey was put on display yesterday morning. And the United States, they struck first in this game with an excellent goal from Matt Boldy in the first period. He got the puck, and there were two defenders in front of him, but he made a very, very nice move. He lifted the puck with his stick, and then while it was still in the air, he hit it again. So a double tap in midair in order to get through the two defenders. Deked, finished it around Bennington. 1-0 lead for the United States. That was their first shot of the game, and they cashed in on their first shot. And then the game continued. No more scores for the first period. But as the second period began, the two teams were about even. Excuse me. The two teams were about even on shots. But at the second period, that's when Canada started to pull away in terms of shots, and they were the aggressors in this game. They were the ones who were in the offensive zone for most of the time. They had a lot of the momentum in the game. They were getting the shots on goal, and that continued for the second and the third pretty much. In the second period, the United States committed two penalties leading to a 5-on-3 for Canada for a minute and 30 seconds, which is a long, long time. So they were already in the power play, committed another penalty, trying to kill the penalty, and that led to a 5-on-3 for 90 whole seconds, which is a very long time. It's very tough to do, and somehow the United States killed this penalty without allowing a point. Canada had three shots on the power play, two from Macklin Celebrini, and and the U.S. were able to kill both penalties without giving up a goal. And that was a huge turning point in this game. It was a big, big moment, one of the biggest moments in a game full of big moments. But so Canada had all the momentum at this point, and this penalty kill didn't necessarily level the momentum, but it brought the United States back into contention. Even though they were still up, it brought them back into feeling that they were still in the game, still in it momentum wise. They were obviously still leading at this point, but it wasn't looking like they were going to hold on to that lead for much longer. And the penalty kill allowed them to, kind of regain themselves and start pushing a little bit offensively as well. However, even though Canada couldn't score on the power play, they had enough momentum built up previous to that to regain their composure, regain momentum, and Cale Makar scored with a minute 44 left to go in the second period, full strength, 5-on-5 goal for Makar. He went over Hellebuck. I think it was over the pad, maybe it was over the arm, but he went to the top left from the right side. Very nice shot, evening the score at 1. With very little time left in the second period. That made it 1-1. And then the third period started. Canada, much like the second period, continued to shoot a lot. And the United States couldn't really do much with their offensive chances because they were so infrequent and very spaced out. But let's get to the big play in the game, the key play in the game. The beginning of the third period, Canada continued their aggression, got plenty of shots on goal, and Jonathan Toews found himself wide open in front of the net with the puck right there in front of him, ready to be tapped in for an easy score. And somehow, Connor Hellebuck made the save. It was a stick save preventing Tays from shooting it to the wide open net. This would have made the game 2-1 in favor of Canada. And somehow, I'm still not sure how he did it. Hellebuyck put his stick in front of the puck, and when Tays went to shoot it, it bounced off Hellebuyck's stick and went directly to the right and just went out of harm's way. It was incredible. It was one of the greatest saves I've ever seen, and considering the magnitude of the situation of the game, um, it might be. I don't want to say the greatest save of all time, but it is up there in terms of impactful saves in big hockey games. And now is a good time to bring up, in my opinion, the MVP of yesterday's game. Connor Hellebuyck, the goalie for the United States, was brilliant in this game. He saved 41 of the 42 Canadian shots on goal, including a breakaway from Connor McDavid earlier in the game, 2 shots on the same breakaway from Macklin Celebrini directly after this save that we're talking about. 3 saves on the 5-on-3 power play for Canada in the second period. And of course, the goal that we're talking, or the potential goal, the save that we're talking about right now, the stick save on Jonathan Tay's shot to keep the score at 1. He was so good yesterday, and it was a legendary performance from the American goalkeeper. And it's safe to say that if he did not play as well as he had yesterday, then Canada could have won this game by multiple goals. But instead, the United States stayed in it thanks to the incredible play of Connor Hellebuyck. Um, yeah, it was nuts. It really was. I'm still not sure how he did it. If you haven't seen the picture that's gone viral, go take a look at that picture because it should be. I might make it my wallpaper. I'm not even gonna lie. It's gonna be on the cover of Sports Illustrated for sure. It's a legendary moment, a legendary save, a legendary performance from Hellebuyck. He was so good yesterday. Um, the third period continued to roll on. The United States weren't getting as many shots as Canada, but they were still getting some. It just wasn't as good in terms of the looks they were getting. 10 minutes left in the game, Canada got another really good look for a shot on goal. Nathan MacKinnon had the puck with a wide open gap between Hellebuck's right shoulder and the right post. It was about half the goal was wide open, and MacKinnon, who's one of the best players in the league, I think he's like second in the league in points. He knows how to score, and in this clutch moment, he missed the shot. He didn't it went off to the left with such force. He shot it with a lot of force, and it went off to the left and hit the side of the net. Didn't even hit the post, wasn't even saved in the goal. He just missed it flat out, and that was a play that could have flipped the game on its head entirely. And you obviously, especially in these big games, we talked about this before on the show, you don't want to say, well, if this went differently or if this went differently. And I bring that up because that's what happened. And it obviously they would have had a goal if he had shot it on target, but he didn't. And I'm not, for whatever reason, he just missed the shot. And yeah, we should be thanking our lucky stars for that, because Hellebuyck was out of position, and that's one of the best players in the league. He easily could have made that, but for some reason he didn't. And the United States stayed tied with Canada in this game. Now, later in the period, this is still in the third period, crunch time now, less than 10 minutes to go, a double minor for a high stick on Jack Hughes. They got him right here, right, and the tooth, it broke his tooth. It's been chipped like this, blood coming out of it. It's a double minor. It's 4-minute power play for the United States. They were unable to cash in on this, and this could have been the chance for the United States to get that goal in regulation that they were searching for, and they couldn't get good chances for. They got one good shot before Hughes got a high stick on Horvat, and so yeah, he got high sticked, and then he high sticked somebody, leading to 4-on-4 for about 90 seconds. And then the short power play for Canada was very, very close to the end of the game here. and the United States managed to kill it. Hallebuck saved the remaining shots in regulation, and the game went to overtime. And just like the women's United States Canada game, this one this one went to overtime, and there it is. Sorry, excuse me. That was like, you know, so that's the point. We're on a roll here, so let's keep it going. Let's stop talking about that. Just like the women's USA Canada game, this game went to overtime, and the finish was electric. I believe Canada won the faceoff, and they were going back and forth. And then 90 seconds in, Hallebuck stopped Connor McDavid's shot attempt, and the United States managed to get possession. Werenski passed it up to Hughes, and a defender for Canada was coming in, and Hughes managed to squeak the puck out of the zone by hitting it around the defender. Werenski skated up to get it, and it led to a 3-on-1 for the United States. Werenski had the puck. I believe Brock Nelson was out there, and then Jack Hughes bringing up the rear after managing to get the puck into the offensive zone for the United States. Werenski skated up to the puck, shoved his defender off, and then passed it back across the grain to Jack Hughes, who buried it underneath Bennington's left pad, winning the game and winning the gold medal for the United States of America. The golden goal for the United States, the first gold medal for U.S. since the Miracle on Ice in 1980. Huge shot, huge game, incredible game. The United States won it in overtime. I was so excited. You can go see my reactions on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, but what an incredible game, an incredible ending for the United States. Jack Hughes, broken tooth and all, buries the shot, and the celebration ensued. I was so hyped, and just a huge win for the United States. So that is the recap of the game, and now we're going to talk about like some more in-depth stuff, what it means, more in-depth stuff. Yeah, so I already mentioned it, but it can't be overstated how good Hellebuck was in this game. He was, I don't want to say, I don't want to say he was the reason the United States won, because everybody contributes, and there were other players in the game that did great things, like Jack Hughes winning it with the shot. Boldy had that great goal at the first, the penalty killers as well. But so I'm not going to say he was the reason, but he was the main reason why the United States won this game. 41 saves is ridiculous, and he only let in one goal in some of the situations that he was in. Very uncomfortable spots for a goalkeeper to be in. He made saves all throughout the game on some of the best offensive players in the world. McDavid, McKinnon, Celebrini all had plenty of shots on him in this game, and he saved all of them from those players in particular. Just the one got through, and he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant in this game. Legendary performance. I also got to talk about Jack Hughes, who you got to give him his flowers. Both Hughes brothers with an overtime winner in the Olympics. Quinn against Sweden in the quarterfinal, and Jack against Canada in the gold medal game. It was a great shot. First of all, he managed to clear the puck from the Canada zone and get it to his teammate safely. And then he brought up the rear, and when Werenski found him, he buried the shot. Great shot. Lots of speed on that shot. Got it underneath the pad in the 5-hole, and won the game for the United States. Everyone played well in this game. And you got to mention, Canada played a better game than the United States. Canada was the better team in this one. They did not win the game, evidently, but they were still the better team. They controlled the possession for most of it. They had the momentum for a large amount of the game, large duration, large period of time. They had the momentum in this one, and they had plenty of shots on goal. And in a lot of other games, they would have won, but the problem was, once again, Stonewall in goal. Connor Hellebuck was fantastic. But you got to give props to Canada because they played a great game. They have the best players in the world. I still think they were the best team in this tournament, even though they did not win it. They played like the best team. They played like the best team in yesterday's game, but the United States ended up winning the game. But you got to give them credit because they played a great game. They had lots of shots, lots of time in the offensive zone, lots of chances that they were just unable to cash in on. So, um, much respect there. Even though they are our biggest rivals in hockey, they played a great game, and I'm not afraid to say that. But the United States also played a great game, and you can argue it was more impressive considering that they were, on the retreat for a lot of the game, and even though they were in a tough spot and their backs were seemingly against the wall, they managed to persevere. Like Jack Hughes said, it was a gutsy win, and it was a United States hockey win. That's the type of game that the U.S. plays, and this is a huge win for America. And that's what I want to go next is, hockey's not our biggest sport. I mean, you could put football and baseball and basketball over hockey, maybe even soccer, depending on who you talk to, but hockey isn't our sport per se. But I think like the 1980 Miracle on Ice, I think this game has potential to inspire a lot of young people to have an interest in hockey, not just play hockey, but just be interested in it. Kind of like what baseball is doing. They have a lot of stars. Baseball has a lot of stars, and they're using those stars to, gain influence and, grab people's attention. Hockey's kind of doing the same thing. Hockey has a lot of bona fide stars who are big names, and people outside of the sport recognize them as hockey players, and they recognize them as famous people, and that is a great thing for the game. I wasn't the biggest hockey fan the past couple of years, but this year I've been locked in, mainly because the Sharks are very good. We have Macklin, but I've been paying attention to around the league as well. I know a lot. I know basically all these players that were playing yesterday just from the NHL. And that's a great sign for hockey in general, but a great sign for hockey in America, because the NHL is in the United States and also Canada, and it's great that people are getting involved and watching the sport and taking an interest in it. Because it's a great sport, and the Olympics, I would like to say, were a great success in terms of bringing hockey to the international stage, and they put on an absolute show, especially those last two games. So exciting. Such great hockey was played in the Olympics. And it was a blast to watch. And I'm kind of sad it's over, but I am obviously happy with the result. And I can't wait for the NHL to get back. There's one more uh, aspect of this game that I want to talk about before we finish up Olympics talk for the next 2 years. How about that? Well, we'll probably talk about it more if we have Noah on, of course. But I want to talk about another impactful part of the game, an emotional part of the game, and that was the tribute to Johnny Gaudreau after the game. Werenski and Kachuk and Matthews skated around the rink with their American flags, holding up the number 13 Johnny Gaudreau jersey. And I got a little emotional taking a look at that because it's such a tragedy what happened to him and to his brother as well. Promising young hockey players. If you don't know who Johnny Gaudreau is, he was a player for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He was tragically killed last year, and it was unfortunate, very very sad, because he was going to be in contention to play on this United States team, and his career and his life were tragically cut short much too soon. And it was a very meaningful, very touching thing that the players did. And when they got their gold medals and they were taking their team picture, they skated over to the stands and they got Johnny's two kids. And you could see it just meant so much to the family. The kids are all obviously very young. I'm not sure they understood the gravity of the gesture, but um, it it was a great thing that they did, and yeah, I guess we'll leave it there. You don't want to get too much into it, but it was just such a touching thing that they did, a great tribute to Johnny Hockey. So the United States of America winning the gold medal in both men's and women's hockey against Canada in overtime by a score of 2-1. So I'm actually not sure who won the Olympics in general. I believe it was I think Norway had like a dominant performance in terms of gold medals, but Let's take a look. So yeah, Norway crushed it. 18 gold medals, 12 silver, 11 bronze, 41 in total. Uh, Second, the United States of America, 12 gold, 12 silver, 9 bronze, 33. Then the Netherlands had 10 gold medals, 20 in total. Italy, 10 gold medals, 30 in total. Germany, 826. France, 823. Sweden, 818. A lot of countries were competing in these Olympics. And yeah, so the United States finishes with 12 gold medals, 12 silver, 9 bronze, third place, 8 behind Norway with their 18 gold medals. And even though I only watch hockey pretty much, I mean, when I was at the gym, they'd always have curling on, and I found that very intriguing. I had no idea what was going on, but I liked what I saw from curling. And I saw some skiing as well, some bobsled, skeleton stuff. Even though I did not know what was going on, it was still cool to see these incredible athletes performing at the highest level. And, this is a huge deal to them and for their countries as well. And I'm going to call these Winter Olympics a success, not just because the United States won gold in both hockey tournaments, but because I enjoyed watching it. And I'm sure if I enjoyed watching it, then I bet millions of people around the world enjoyed watching it as well. So, a great thing. The Olympics always fun when they come around, and it's going to end the Olympics um, for the Winter Olympics for the next 4 years. And yeah, we got LA 2028. That'll be fun, but we got other stuff to talk about now, so let's just go ahead and get into it. The Golden State Warriors won yesterday, and 128 to 117 over the Denver Nuggets. I I did not watch this game. I had work during the duration, so I was unable to. But even if I didn't, I probably wouldn't have watched it because I know that sounds bad, yes, but I firmly expected the Warriors to lose this game last night, and they won. They won 128 to 117 over the Denver Nuggets, third in the Western Conference with a record of 36 and 22. I couldn't believe it. I honestly couldn't. And if you look about how the Warriors did it, that made it even crazier to me. So the Warriors just shot the lights out of the building in the early just throughout the whole game. They shot the lights out of the arena. They were unbelievable from three, 21 for 52, and they had 9 makes in the first quarter, 6 in the third quarter, or the second quarter rather, 6 in the second quarter, none in the third, and then 6 more in the fourth. They shot the ball incredibly well, and a lot of that had to do with Al Horford, who had 22 points in this game. He had 6 threes, 6 4 7 on threes. Pajemski had 3 threes. He had 18 points, 15 boards, and 9 assists. That's the other part of this game that allowed the Warriors to win. Is Brendan Pajemski went nuclear in the fourth quarter. He made a ton of shots and a ton of big shots, and he took over the game. Brandon Pajemski took over the game. That's a crazy thing to say. I mean, he's been experiencing a lot of hate. I don't think is deserving of that hate. There are criticisms of him and his game, but in this game, and especially at the end, he was great. He was great in this game. That's the truth. Moses Moody had 23 points. He was 4 for 9 on threes. He had 7 boards as well. Guy Santos, 17, 5 and 7. D'Anthony Melton had 20. Will Richard had 11. GP2 had 15. And a very short-handed Warriors team. No Steph, no Seth, obviously no Jimmy, no Porzingis, and no Draymond Green. Those are 5 hugely impactful players for this Warriors squad, and they beat Nikola Jokic, the MVP favorite, and the Denver Nuggets. Jokic had 35, 20, and 12. And what's even crazier is that happened basically to the first 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, he had 3 points, 1 board, and 1 assist. So he had 32 points, 19 rebounds, and 11 assists through the first 3 quarters. And then in the fourth quarter, he just didn't. I don't want to say he didn't show up because he was on the bench for a lot of it. He only played 3 minutes in the fourth quarter, which is bizarre. But yeah, he just was thoroughly stopped in the fourth quarter, and it allowed the Warriors to go on a huge run to close the game, a 31-10 run. At one point, it was like 20-4 for the Warriors, closing out the game, regaining the momentum, and hopefully this continues because the key for the Warriors now that the All-Star break is over, is for the Dubs, you have to stay over 500 in your games remaining because we lost to Boston and then we got this huge win over Denver that puts us at 1-1 after the All-Star break. Now we got to win another game and then stay above 500 for the remainder of our games because if you take a look at our record right now, we're 30-27, 3 games over 500. I don't want to go below 3 games over 500. We have to stay over because there's no way we're going to gain any ground unless we're winning a lot more games than we lose. But just so we don't fall down in the order as well, it would be better to be able to play 2 games. It would be better to not have to play 2 win or go home games. It would be better to have to play 1 win or go home game if you don't win the first game, which is win, or you get to play again. That's huge for the seeding. We got to stay ahead of the teams below us, which I believe are the Clippers and I look at the Blazers. I get the Blazers are actually ahead of the Clippers now, so we're 2.5 up on Portland, and we're 3 up on the Clippers. So we have to stay 3 games above 500, and we just gotta try and keep it going because we're only a game and or 2.5 games back of Phoenix. So we can definitely catch them, but we have to be winning games in order to do that. It's also easier said than done because Steph Curry is going to be out for the next week. He's still going to be out, and we are dealing with a lot of injuries. But the team is playing solid as a group, and we just have to beat the teams below us, and we have to compete with the teams ahead of us. That's what we have to do if we want to stay alive. And even though I don't expect us to do anything this year in terms of championship, um, we just got to continue to play competitive basketball and stay above 500. That's the key for the rest of the season for the Dubs. Let's go to one more thing before we end today. The Giants spring training game for the Orange and Black against the Cubs. This one, we kind of had the full lineup going. Not everybody. Although it looks like we didn't have all of our starters playing, but we had most of them. Arias made his debut. Chappie, Willie, Rafi, Patty, Jung Hoo Lee, Bryce Eldridge, and Bader. So Ramos was the only starter who didn't play. Robbie Ray was the starting pitcher. In the first inning, we actually turned a triple play, believe it or not. A ball was hit over the head of Arias, who went out and threw it to the cutoff man, which was Devers, and then Devers threw it to second base, where Seiya Suzuki was sliding in. He was tagged out by Adames, and then 2 runners were standing on third base. So Adames ran over and tagged both of them, and one was called out and one was called safe. Yet they both went to the dugout. So when Adames flipped the ball to Chappie, he's like, "Here you go, Chappie," give him the ball. Chapman tagged the other runner. It was a triple play. It was the first triple play I've seen the Giants turn. Very unorthodox, but a triple play nonetheless. A 4-3-6-5 triple play to end the inning. How funny is that? And the Giants scored 4 runs in this game. Only one of them was by way of the RBI, which I find kind of funny. Chappie had it was 2 for 2. He had 2 doubles in this game. He was kind of the standout performer for the Giants. And the Giants won 4-2 over Chicago. So a nice game for the Giants. That's 2-0 now for the spring training. Great to see all the starters playing okay. We did score 4 runs, which is a lot more than we did in some games last year. But good sign. Good sign. You got to take it with a grain of salt, though. It is spring training, but It's nice to win some ball games. Just make sure we don't use up a lot of wins before the season starts. That happened last year. So that's going to do it for today's episode. Warriors do not play tonight. They play tomorrow. And then no hockey yet. And then baseball, the Giants, A's today. So that's going to do it for today's episode. Great episode, I think. I think it was a fantastic one. Felt like I was in a groove today. And I appreciate all you guys. If you're still here, drop a comment down below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, And I'll see you tomorrow.